Next, we'd like to honor one of PMP's newest columnists, Judy Black, board-certified entomologist. She has a storied career in training and educating pest control technicians and owners alike. Judy, I know that you're not too much for fanfare. We were not able to oblige you. We're still going to have a video, much to your dismay. But if you really want to, we can have a 100-question test at the very end with CEUs for anybody who scores 99 or above. But without that, I give you Judy Black.
Judy Black is the rare person who can be just as passionate about her job as she is her non-work pursuits. Talk to her about any of her recent adventure races, and she will bring it back around to a lesson learned in life and work. Success depends on being incredibly disciplined, she says. Plan ahead and execute the plan. Black is Vice President of Quality Assurance and Technical Services for Atlanta, Georgia-based Rollins Inc, a post she took in January after 3 years with Rentokil-Steritech and 21 more with legacy company, the Steritech Group. She relocated from Broomfield, Colorado with her husband John and is already finding ways to love her new hometown, especially through its many parks and hiking trails. The outdoors has long been a draw for Black, who grew up a military kid and lived all across the world. In college, Black was leaning toward becoming a forest ranger, but a professor encouraged her to take a couple of entomology classes during her bachelor degree coursework. The economy was ebbing, and she decided to go to graduate school. Black soon found herself as a teaching assistant in the entomology department at West Virginia University. Her focus was on agricultural entomology, but the pest control industry was starting its tug at her attention. Soon after graduation in 1986, she followed its lead and joined Terminix's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania branch. Fellow PMP Hall of Famer Norman Goldenberg, class of 2008, remembers working with Judy during that period and says she was by far one of the best. She not only had great leadership skills, knowledge of insects and pest management, but more importantly, she was able to convey that education and training to others, Goldenberg added. He said Black's demeanor not only enabled her to continue to bring success to those companies that have been fortunate enough to utilize her skills, but our entire pest management industry has benefited too. Black served as president of Pi Chi Omega from 2016 to 2018 and was recognized as the National Pest Management Association's Woman of Excellence Award winner in 2012, among many other accolades over her career. But she is quick to note that her success has a lot to do with her having people in her corner rooting for her. There are people who trusted me more than I trusted myself, she adds. They challenged me to be better and do more. And if I hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am now. I've since tried to apply that to the people around me and who work for me. And I know that the day someone I mentored gets recognized in the industry, that will be the icing on the cake.
So I'm fortunate that I planned my remarks to be brief, and then I lost my voice. So if you'll bear with me. But I'm always impressed when people are just really good at their job, whether it's mowing a lawn or building a robot or something. And I'm really in awe of Heather and Marty and the PMP team for asking me just a few questions and going through stacks of photographs and developing that video. I mean, I was impressed. It was a very great job, so thank you to the whole team there. And I want to thank my 3 guests for coming. I've got my husband, John Edwards, here with me, and my niece, Erin Black, who was in the pilot seat on that one picture. And also we were swimming, being badasses. Our family has an annual Christmas Day lake swim. So other families like gorge on turkey and stuff, we do that, but we do it after we do our lake swim. So anyway, that's what that picture was all about. But I've also got Chris Gorecki here, who is my boss. I guess I still can call you my new boss. I mean, it's hasn't been that long, but really honored that the three of them would come and spend this time with me today. So thank you for coming. I just have three very brief things that I want to touch on. And the first is really how fortunate I am to be in this industry. I've received far more than I've given. And after 33 years, there's been a lot of days and a lot of weeks and months on end where I feel like I've given a lot. So if I say I received more, then it really means something. But I don't know how to really bottle this and market it, but every single day, I feel like we have an impact on individuals as well as society as a whole. And how do we get that message out to the world? We should never have a problem hiring people. We just, I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet, and maybe I will at some point. But I just really feel like we have something to offer, and we need to attract those kinds of folks to join this industry. But it's a great way to make a living. The second thing that I wanted to touch on is that I'm very fortunate to have worked with some of the best people in the industry. And some of them have stood on this stage before me, and some could very well stand here after me. And some may never be recognized in this way, and their contributions are no less than mine. But I did kind of avoid trying to list all these people because I was so afraid that I would leave somebody out. But, if you mean something to me, I have probably texted you a cat meme before, or a funny cat video, so you know who you are now. So, and because it was the longest part of my career, I wanted to single out Steritech for one thing that I'm going to carry throughout my career. And you might be expecting me to say it was, I learned how to kill cockroaches, or I learned how to run a good business, or I learned how to treat people well. And I don't know if this will make sense to you, but it's all of that and none of that. Really the one thing that I want to take with me for the rest of my career is how fun it is to build something great. And so for the rest of my career, that's what I want to do. I want to be part of building something great. And I think we can all do that. And you know the saying of a rising tide raises all ships. And I think that's one really cool thing about this industry. And you saw that in Lonnie's talk about how we all help each other, that nobody really is some kind of mean, evil competitor, that kind of thing. So just that's my second to the last thought. And lastly, I want to recognize how important it's been to my career that I've been able to have a fulfilling personal life with someone who gets me. And when I turned 40, I really wanted to shave my head. I won't get into the whole reason why. I just thought it would be the most badass thing that I could do. So John did talk me out of that. And the consequence was that I just got these topo maps, and I built this backcountry backpacking trip. And we went over 4 12,000-foot passes. And he fondly remembers that as Judy's death march. And I will say that on the topo map, one of the trails was called a mule killer. So it was pretty badass. It wasn't as badass as shaving my head, but it was pretty badass. So when I turned 50, I was like, I'm going to do an Ironman triathlon. My brother is kind of a serial Ironman. And I thought, I'll do that with my brother. That'd be so cool. And I just want to say that when you do an Ironman, it's a commitment from your family as well. You have to actually get permission to do it. And John was, fully supportive of that. So I don't know what it'll be, when I, when I turn 60, I'm still, kind of thinking about that, about what I might do. But this past year, I said, what do you think about selling your business in Denver and moving to Georgia? Like, isn't that a great idea? It's just as good of idea as doing the Ironman or an adventure race or doing Judy's Death March, and John came right along with me. So I just want to say how much I'm absolutely positive that I would not be standing here today if I didn't have that kind of support that I get from my husband, John. So, I wrote down here, if you have time, tell this story. So I feel like my voice is holding out, so I will tell this story, another story about how John gets me. When we lived in Denver, I would make this left turn out of the parking area, and I'd call him and say, I made the turn. And it was usually just about 40 minutes before I would get home. That's why I called. And so this one time I called, and he said, did you make the turn? I said, I'm already to Colorado Boulevard. I'm quite a ways away. And he's like, oh, what, how come you didn't call like right then? And I said, Enter Sandman came on the radio. And I just had to finish listening to it. He says, say no more, I understand. So that's just another example of, how John does get me. So I want to thank PMP Magazine again and all of you for celebrating with me in this esteemed Hall of Fame class. I was so impressed by the folks that are being inducted tonight, and I just can't wait to see the rest of the videos and the speeches. And I want to thank you for making it fun to be part of such a great industry. Thank you.